Good evening and welcome to Estuary TV News. I'm Emma Lingard. On the show tonight, my guest is Michelle Lawler, editor of the Grimsby Telegraph, who'll be going through the week's news. But first, it's over to James for the news.
Hello, in the headlines today, the local police force could go to Russia to re-investigate a tragedy from 4 decades ago and get involved in the new action movie set in northern Lincolnshire. Humberside Police are to go on a trip to Russia as part of an investigation into a hull trawler that sank 40 years ago. The Ghoul and its 36 crew went down north of Norway in 1974, but the remains of 10 people believed to be linked to the tragedy were found in Russia in 2012. Now the force are in talks with the Foreign and Commonwealth Office about the possibility of sending 3 officers and a scientist to investigate. Police continue to inform the families of those lost of any developments, but a date has not yet been set. A new hospital training facility has opened in Diana, Princess of Wales Hospital in Grimsby. It's a first for the area, where nurses, doctors and healthcare assistants have previously had to use neighbouring hospitals' training rooms for similar tasks. The Yorkshire and Humber Deanery provided £14,000 for the training room, and the state-of-the-art mannequin cost over £20,000. After a staff competition, the mannequin has been named Ivor Pulse. Dr. Neil Pease explained the advantages of the new facilities.
I think it'll benefit everybody. It's a multi-professional approach, so it's not just doctors, it's going to be healthcare assistants, nurses, the full multidisciplinary team. But it gives them a chance to practice in a safe environment. It's an environment where if you make any mistakes, it's safe. You can recreate rare events, so things that are quite rare in somebody's clinical practice to see, you can recreate them. And also it'll give us an opportunity that if any events have happened at the hospital, any rare events, or there's been any traumatic things in A&E or something like that, you can recreate it for learning purposes.
We know that when things go wrong, it's not necessarily the technical problems at all. It's very much how the team gels and the human factor side of things, and it will allow us to improve that and improve the quality of care through effective team working.
Fundraisers cycled 188 miles for charity this weekend, and they did so without even leaving Grimsby. It was part of a challenge inside Freshney Place, in which teams rode the equivalent of the distance to Great Ormond Street Hospital on Friday and Saturday, all on exercise bikes. There was plenty of entertainment too during the Great Day Out, and 10 other shopping centres around the country also took part. Money raised from the Grimsby event will be split between Great Ormond Street and local cause St Andrew's Hospice.
And it's to raise money for Great Ormond Street Hospital and also St Andrew's Children's Hospice here in our region. So it's 2 great charities that serve our region. As you know, Great Ormond Street also do work for the children in our region as well. And we're going to try and cycle on an exercise bike to Great Ormond Street Hospital and to raise money in the process.
Carers are needed to offer short-term breaks for disabled children in North Lincolnshire. Known as butterfly carers, they provide vital time out for families who care for young people with disabilities, so they can recharge their batteries. They'll be given full training and a detailed expenses package for a job service manager Anne-Marie Karlberg says is just as important as fostering. If you think you could help, contact North Lincolnshire Council for more details. And finally, it's action time for a local film company hoping to make an impact on the international film circuit by showcasing local talent. Focus 7 are creating a short movie to enter into the Action Film Challenge based in Tampa, Florida. They entered the competition last year with movie Havelock, which took 2nd place and picked up the Best Visual Effects Award. They'll have just 30 days to make the movie when the challenge starts at the beginning of July. But they've still got to raise the budget via crowdfunding and need to find £800 of the necessary £1,700 needed to make the movie.
The competition is a 30-day film challenge, action film challenge, 0 to hero in 30 days, and it's based in Tampa in Florida. We entered last year and we were the only UK entry, so we were representing the rest of the world in an American competition. We were very pleased because last year we got 2nd place and we won Best Visual Effects. Unfortunately, we couldn't be there on the night, so we were waiting with bated breath by our phones and waiting for Facebook messages and email messages, and we found out we won. We got the prizes. Our biggest challenge this year is raising the money, so we're doing it through a crowdfunding campaign. My wife's idea, and we're doing quite well. We wanted £1,700. We figured we could do it for. and we're currently at £907 with about 3 or 4 days to go.
To find out more, look for Focus 7 Limited on Facebook. That's all from me. Bye for now.
Thank you, James. Well, tonight my guest reviewing the week's news is Michelle Lawler, editor of the Grimsby Telegraph. Michelle, welcome back.
Thank you, Emma.
No stranger to the sofa now. What's caught your eye this week in the papers?
There's quite a lot happening across all the region, really. We're starting in Scunthorpe with a story that interested me, to be honest, because when I worked there, I was a reporter and editor there for quite a number of years. I knew Des Comerford, who then ran DJs, which is now Fallen Hero. I think he rebranded.
Right.
A very long trader in Scunthorpe High Street, who is actually saying he's going to have to close his branch in Scunthorpe High Street due to rising costs and not enough football. Got World Cup on my mind. So I'll start again. Footfall through the High Street.
Okay.
And Scunthorpe is a classic, really, where you've got a lot of the retailers who've gone down actually to the new football ground site. So that must have been on my mind.
Yes,
and I know M&S, and I think it's even Debenhams, are planning new developments down there now, which is dragging people away, obviously, from the high street. Des is actually saying there it costs him £130,000 a year to run his shop in Scunthorpe High Street, which is a lot of money.
It is a lot, isn't it? Yes. And that is, I know there's been a few calls about this. The residents in Scunthorpe are worried that the high street is dying. And yet, on the other hand, people are always saying buy local, shop local, but you're taking it out of town. Can people get there?
Well, the bus routes, I guess, are down there. And I know the times I've been down to that area around Glanford Park, it's absolutely packed with car parking, and they're saying here, I know North Lincolnshire Council are saying they're offering free car parking in the town centre. The car parking down at Glanford Park area is free all of the time. And it's got restaurants down there. It's got the big name brands that are moving down there, and that is what people know. And people go where the shops are, don't they? They do.
I mean, that is sad. I know
very difficult.
There's a page on Facebook, Scunthorpe Memories, where people have been talking about this, the death of the high street.
And it is a shame. It is a shame. I mean, in Grimsby, fortunately, we've been able to keep that high street. It's the one thing we seem to have been able to have kept a little bit more, where the brands have remained there. In Freshly Place and the surrounding area, but certainly Scunthorpe, that hasn't happened. So we'll see how that progresses.
That's if another trader bites the dust. That's not good news either, is it, for that gentleman?
Especially such a long-standing trader as Des, who's been there for many years, more years than I care to remember. It shows my age if I tell you how long ago it was since I knew Des when I used to work in Scunthorpe.
Okay, what else has caught your eye then? Because like you said, there's been a lot of things happening, hasn't there?
There has. I mean, this is one I know, Emma, that caught your eye as well, because I know you're quite an animal lover as well, aren't you?
The bogus vet,
Yesterday, our front page, pets suffered agony at hands of bogus vets. And, we've both said today, I think we've both got animals at home and things. How on earth would anybody take an animal to somebody, presumably in a house, who didn't appear to be qualified to allow operations to be carried out?
That's what I found strange in that particular story, that, I mean, I go to a vet who I trust. And I just think, would you go to somebody that, You wouldn't.
But again, is it a cash thing? Everybody is strapped for cash these days. A lot of people struggling. Vets do, it does cost a lot of money to get your animals treated. Are people just being convinced that this man was able to do it? But really not worth it. And you have got the Blue Cross in Grimsby.
I was going to say, I mean, the Blue Cross is there for those that can't afford a normal vet's bills. But that is quite the suffering that obviously those animals have gone through is pretty
And I'm sure
tragic.
genuinely vets would be animal lovers by their nature. If you were genuine and you didn't have the money, I'm sure they would sort something out to ensure your animal was treated properly. So please don't do it, I think is what we're saying.
Yeah, it is. That was one of the bizarre headlines, I think, that we've had.
Certainly bizarre when we heard about it, actually, to be honest.
Yeah. What else has caught your eye? I mean, there's cyberbullying, which is a big thing at the moment, isn't there? With the Callum Moody Chapman, who sadly died, didn't he?
It was a dreadful story, really, and it's one that's kind of run because the death was quite some time ago now up in the Lake District. This lad, who's from Halton-le-Clay, which, as people will know, is near Grimsby, had travelled up to the Lake District and taken his own life. It then came out a few weeks later on that he was a victim of cyberbullying. From somebody who initially had been a friend. His parents then, there was an inquest a few weeks ago, his parents then came out with a campaign to try and highlight the dangers of cyberbullying, We then found it's hit the headlines again because there's been a 25% increase in the number of children being referred to local mental health services in northern Lincolnshire as a result of cyberbullying.
Right, okay.
And I think what is most distressing about this one is you can't get away from it. With Facebook, with Twitter, with the cyber, it is there 24/7.
Yeah.
You don't walk away from school, close the door at home, and it's gone till the next morning, because bullying has always existed.
Yes.
This is round the clock.
Follows you, doesn't it?
You know, teenagers, children, they've got their mobiles, they've got their iPads or whatever at home, and they have it there all the time. And that constant mental torture, if they are getting bullied, must be horrible.
It is, and I know this is something that I suppose that younger generation have to face, but even adults as well. You know, I know that there's been a lot of cases where the police are now investigating adults being abused on Facebook. But that figure's quite worrying, isn't it, the rise?
It is. You know, is it surprising when you think about the amount of people who've got mobile phones? Everybody has one. Maybe we shouldn't be surprised by it.
No, I suppose not. And I think, you know, that's one thing that obviously things like this are able to highlight and try. I mean, I know we're always going about keeping children safe online, aren't they? But trying to stamp out cyberbullying.
It's very difficult because
worrying.
it's open forums, isn't it? That's
it
the
is,
thing.
yeah,
It's up to the child to be strong enough, I guess, to either defriend that person or whatever you do, or block them, or actually tell somebody this is happening. And sometimes teenagers can't do that,
No, they can't, especially when it goes to such lengths that, you have to say something has to be done. Okay.
Yep. So that was,
anything else that you've picked up on there as well?
Well, I know you mentioned, Emma, earlier the kind of rising number of kind of attacks we've had and things like that recently.
Yes.
We don't want to go into this one too much because obviously this court case is pending, but I know we've had one again in today's paper of a man who was actually chased and beaten up simply because he ran after people who were throwing stones at his window on a street in Grimsby. And I think it's just that awful feeling that you can't actually approach people to tell them to stop doing something.
And I think again, that's right. And there was a report actually out this week as well about the fact people within communities don't even know the names of their neighbours or talk to them. And I know it's Neighbourhood Watch Week coming up soon. And I think things like this are what that's about, isn't it? Communities standing up, I suppose, to people being terrorised.
And it's very hard, isn't it? You know, if you've got a gang of people outside, I can imagine it's intimidating, it's hard if you're elderly, particularly, or on your own. You don't actually want to get involved.
No.
You know.
But you say to if you are able to face up to people, but then to have something like that happen isn't very pleasant either, is it?
Not at all.
Yes,
no.
we have seen a spate of different things. Anything else that's caught your eye as well? That
I think we have to mention some stars, don't we? We've got we've got Ella who's releasing her single. I forgot about that today.
Yes.
So hopefully that'll make a showing in the charts on Sunday.
Yeah.
And we've got the Louth guy who's in now. How do you pronounce that?
Is it collab?
I'll leave that with you. Yes, I think it is. The band who are on, or the singing group who are on Britain's Got Talent.
Yes.
And he's in the final tomorrow night. So we've featured that today, and the Louth leader obviously featured it earlier in the week.
We've got quite a bit of talent in the area, haven't we? Which is quite nice to see.
We have, and it's nice to see some of it bubbling under now, isn't it?
It is brilliant. Well, that brings us to the end of the news. Thank you for coming in and going through the paper. Plenty of stories, as usual, to go through, so thank you very much for that. Well, coming up tomorrow, we're going to meet a group of anglers who are fishing for therapy, which sounds very interesting. And my guest in the studio is Nick Fairfax, who's going to talk to us about the North East Lincolnshire Cycling Challenge. I seem to have done lots of cycling news stories just lately as well. Well, that's it from all of us. Contact us the usual ways if you have a story, either through our Facebook or Twitter pages, or phone us on Grimsby 01472 315 561. But until next time, goodbye.